Everybody, welcome to Personal Mastery Training. This is a strategy episode, and the whole theme of these conversations we have is that you don't get through life, but you get from life. One of my passion for doing this is for the past 30 years, I've spent an enormous amount of time listening to people. And what I hear resoundingly with most people is we're living lives of quiet desperation. We are not many of us are living out our true self. That thing in you. Each what are we at? 8 point odd billion of us on this planet, and I'm guaranteeing you, each of us have our own little signature that we want to leave on this world. But you see, to leave that signature, it takes a ton of courage, clarity, commitment, and being consistent. Those are my four pillars of mastery that I'm going to write about in my next book. Next year, it'll be out. Because of the challenges I've been through this year, I've delayed it, and I've got even more powerful strategies to put in that book because of the life I'm going through right now. The winters, as I spoke about on my podcast earlier, the winters of life have taught me many things. So today, here's what we're going to talk about: success. A lot of us are chasing it. A lot of us, we see it all the time. Maybe not you. You may say it's not me. But I'm going to say a lot of us are relentlessly pursuing some idea of success. And a lot of us have this good enough or this I am not good enough bar that we set. But the problem with the enough bar is it keeps moving. And we can't seem to quite satiate what is enough. When people say to me, I just don't feel good enough, I always ask them, when will you know that you're good enough? You're going through this idea of imposter syndrome, or you don't think you belong, or when will you know you belong? Is it the next degree? Is it the next $1 million? Is it the next baby? Is it the next house? Is it the next car? No one ever knows, because when they get there, they find someone else has more, and they continue to chase. So, because we've seen, right, millionaires, superstars, movie stars, actors, and we've seen some of them go as far as committing suicide. When in your mind you're thinking they have everything, how can they even think about it? Well, they have that pursuit of this idea of success. So what we're going to talk about is this idea that success should not be pursued, it should be attracted. And when you take this vantage point that it should be attracted, it makes you then think how. And this comes from, again, my one of my greatest modern day philosophers who passed away many years ago, Jim Rohn. He said it should be attracted by the person you become. See, you should go on this quest to have the thing you want, but not for the thing, but for what it makes of you to become the person who can attract that thing towards you. And when you take this vantage point that success should be attracted and not pursued, it really makes the journey that much more fun. Recently, I did a bodybuilding competition in honor of my son. It took me 16 weeks to transform my body and get to this stage. The outcome was very successful. It was I had three first place in 50 plus, 40 plus novice, and a fifth place in a division where there's a people 20 years my junior, 30 years my junior even, and I did well. I held my own. But you see, the outcome, the medals and everything I received for the journey wasn't the thing that was the most rewarding. It was the things I learned along the way: discipline, focus, teamwork, trust, trusting the process, patience. So many things I learned as I went along that was more rewarding than the actual outcome, the medals. I have the medals in my office. But again, what sits in my heart and my mind is everything that happened along the way. And that the day, on the final day, It was just a beautiful experience. So, what success, first of all, let's get clear. What success are you looking for in life? Do you even know? Is it the money, the career, the respect from your peers, the degree? What would you call success? That's the first thing we have to get right. Is what how do you define success? And now, without comparison, by the way, be careful of comparison, not what someone else has, but what would it mean to you? What would have to happen for you to feel this feeling of accomplishment and success? What does it look like for you? And once you define that, once you step back and take the time to define that, now who do you have to become to attract it effortlessly in your life? Who do you have to become? What work do you have to do on yourself? What mentor do you need to have in your life? Who is living the life looks like it that you want? Who's living that life that you want? And what I would do is an identity make workup, meaning what physiology do you have to achieve? What do you perceive them as doing? What do you think they do, think, feel, and how can you adapt that ego, that alter ego into your life? If you're not that person yet, how do you act as if? Be, do, and have. Be that person in advance. Do the things they would do, and you will attract what you want in your life. You can't live a life, an ordinary existence, an existence where you take no risks at all, where you live meek, you give back very little, you get paid not for the hour that you spend, but for the value you bring to the hour. How do you bring more value to life? Think about what you're doing right now. And if you intend to elevate to that next level, how can you add more value to people's lives? How can you improve? How can you work on yourself? What areas of life do you need to go back to the drawing board and do more of? Refine it, refine those skills that you need. How do you do that? What do you need to do? What courses do you need to take? What mentorship do you need to do? What extra time do you need to say no to this so you can focus on growing yourself? So think about the success you want. And remember that statement. Don't pursue success. You'll end up empty. What if you become the person then that attracts it? I said this in another podcast. You must be the thermometer or the thermostat. You must be the thermostat that sets the temperature of the room you're in. If you want, if you go out and want your audience to buy, if you want your audience to cry, to change, to make an impact, you first must have that energy on that stage. You become the thermostat that sets the room, the temperature of your life, of the room, wherever. So, if whatever you want, define it first. First step is define it. Second, who do you have to become? Don't chase success. Don't pursue it. Like anything else that you chase, it'll seem fleeting and constantly on the move. But what if you stand still, become better, the better person than you are today? Each time, constant and ever an improvement. How do you become better? For things to get better, you must be better. For things to change, you must change. How do you become that? How do you make that happen? So success is drawn to you. It's not pursued. This year I've spent the last 30 years of my life becoming better than I was. And my family's benefited from it. My friends, peers, When I get better, I now share with them and they get better and they get back to me. So I don't chase success. I change, I add value to me, add value to my world around me, and all of a sudden it's attracted. To attract success, you must become an attractive person. And that we're not talking about looks, we're talking about energy, attractive energy. All right. So that's it for this strategy episode. If you know someone who you find or yourself needs to hear this, a friend of yours needs to hear that they should stop the relentless pursuit of success and stop exactly where they are and become attractive by improving themselves, improving the work they do, improving their skills. This is what they need to hear. Like, subscribe, and share. All right. Until next time, I wish you peace, a whole lot of love with a sprinkle of soul. All right. We'll talk soon.